You folks will not believe this, but some people, I'm talking to you, sound guy, make fun of the way I say the word horror. And I think it's very appropriate tonight that I have been critiqued on how I say horror, because my co-hosts tonight, as we talk about cosmic horror, are Dennis Hopeless and Kyle Strahm. Now, these two guys, if you're familiar with me at all, you probably know that we did a podcast and video podcast together called Missouri Swagger, and we haven't done one in a long time. But this is sort of a reunion of Missouri Swagger to some degree. And we're going to be talking about one of my favorite subgenres, which is cosmic terror, cosmic horror, and you will, of course, hear my archenemy, Dennis Hopeless, make fun of my accent as we progress. Dennis is an amazing writer. He does just some awesome books, including the comic book Hard Eyes, which is very appropriate to what we're talking about tonight. And Kyle is both a writer and an artist. He worked with me on the book Unearth, which was absolutely a cosmic horror book. So I'm super excited to talk to these guys again for the first time in several years and just really show you all what jackasses we can really be. This is the Cullenoscopy, but it is a reunion of sorts for the old Missouri Swagger gang, as Dennis and Kyle have decided to join me and participate in this grand experiment that we call life.
How do you guys feel about the fact that we're all 5 years older than when we did Missouri Swagger?
I feel really bad. I don't like this. It plays right into our topic for tonight, because I think we're going to be talking about cosmic horror. And for me, cosmic horror is about how pointless your existence is, and how quickly you are falling into entropy, and that no one cares. And that's what those 5 years represent to me.
Well, I've definitely fallen into entropy in the past 5 years. That much is true. Also, from the look of my background here, it's like I'm being held hostage. I'm about to hold up a newspaper to tell you what day it is.
Uh-oh, Cullen.
Favorite day.
Oh, he's back. We'll edit that out.
We can edit all this out, but I'm not going to. In honor of Missouri Swagger, we're not going to edit any of this. All right, gentlemen, we're going to talk about cosmic horror. So I think we should probably start with, how do you define cosmic horror? And I say it a lot because I know Dennis likes the way I say horror.
I really do. It's my favorite thing so far about this new podcast.
I think it's going to come up a lot tonight.
Yes, it is. So how do you define it? What makes cosmic terror a thing for you?
So when you first suggested this, I'll go first because my answer's stupid. I was a little bit concerned about talking about this because while I have written things that are cosmic horror adjacent, it was all done with very little research. I've read no Lovecraft. To my knowledge, until you sent me the thing saying what we were going to talk about, I had not ever seen any media that was like Elder God cosmic horror. However, it turns out that one of my favorite movies is that. I just didn't realize it. Event Horizon is cosmic horror, and I didn't know that.
It absolutely is.
So yeah, I think I have always just taken the surface level cool stuff and made up my own version that I put in things that I've written or done, but I do not have a deep well of knowledge.
I think you'll find that you have a deeper well of knowledge about cosmic horror than you think you do. What about you, Kyle? What makes cosmic horror?
Well, you've caught me off guard because on the list you sent us, the question you asked, what does cosmic horror mean to me? And I took it the wrong way. And then I thought,
what does it mean to you?
Question. I'm not going to answer that. But
this is cosmic horror. Kyle is like these cyclopean deities who just doesn't give a damn about anything.
I think cosmic horror, if I had to define cosmic horror, it's definitely a mood and a vibe of uncovering layer by layer the incomprehensible, terrible something that lives and has designs on humanity, and a slow fall into madness. That's one way I'd define it, I guess. But really, I'd say it's the thing Lovecraft came up with. Like, he created it, in my opinion. I'm not as well read about it as you are, Cullen, but I don't think. So this is going to sound like sacrilege. I have read Lovecraft, and I am never like, oh man, Lovecraft can sure write. But his concepts have permeated like every inch of pop culture because they are awesome. So that's my.
Yeah, he was a great imaginer. I mean, he dedicated a lot of that imagination to racism, but he was a great imaginer for the most part of these cosmic ideas. But I think people who have written in the Lovecraft circle and who have continued to tell stories have told much better stories of cosmic horror. But for me, it's just, I said it earlier, it's this sense of uh, not mattering, and there's something out there, there's some greater power, which we all, well, a lot of us want to believe in, but in this case, it just doesn't give a damn about you.
Cullen, what's my favorite Lovecraft quote?
I don't know. What is it?
Well, I wanted you to tell me because I don't remember exactly how it goes. Let me look. Let me look.
All right.
I could give you a paraphrased version.
Is this the most merciful thing in the?
Yes. Tell me the real one. The real quote.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get it wrong though. The most merciful thing in the world.
I got it right here.
All right, see if I get it right. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is man's inability to comprehend reality or something like that. I got it wrong. I know.
Got totally wrong.
All right, well, hit me with it.
The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate
its contents. Yeah, that's great. I used to have that on my screensaver when I had a real job. That was the whole quote. And my employees would always go in and change my screensaver. It would like scroll across, and it would say like the inability of Cullen to do his job or something like that. All my employees, they really, really thought the world of me.
I bet they did.
Just like in Lovecraft, you just didn't.
Do you have a moment where you feel like it was the first time you experienced or read or saw some sort of cosmic horror and how that impacted you? I have a very clear one, but I want to hear yours.
Well, Dennis's was like last week when he realized Event Horizon was cosmic horror.
Yeah, I mean, I've written a lot of things that draw on that. And what you guys were talking about is like my thoughts on things like the existence of God and religion in general, and even like the way people talk about aliens, have always been that it seems really presumptuous for us to assume that other life, if it exists, has anything to do with us or is similar to us in any way. So I love that aspect of it, where like we are insignificant, because of course we are, to something that, something other universal or from a different plane of existence. So I love that, and I've had thoughts about that since high school, but I didn't realize that played out in those.
You did a great book called Hard Eyes that had a lot of sort of cosmic horror elements. My question to you is, did you feel existential dread when the movie Hard Eyes came out this last year and it was nothing to do with you?
Well, so what's funny about that is when I was working on Hard Eyes was around the time when I first started working on it that Lovecraft Country came out. So I really wanted to see that show, but I was talking to someone who watched it, and they're like, "Oh, you can't watch it. There's an episode that is like adjacent to what you're doing, and you don't want like that earworm or mindworm is going to mess you up." So I never watched it. And then, so then I did a thing that apparently is similar to an episode of Lovecraft Country. And then, when I was at the movies with my children whenever the trailer for Hard Eyes came out, and I thought it was hilarious because, number one, getting Victor to agree to that title, because that title doesn't translate well and English isn't his first language, was a wild uphill battle of an entire year, and we finally convinced him that it was a good horror title, and now it is a slasher movie.
Yeah, it's
with
a really good
Valentine's
horror
Day
title.
theme.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Kyle, what was your introduction to cosmic horror?
So, I didn't know what cosmic horror was. Did anybody even say cosmic horror until 15 years ago?
No.
Like I said, I define it as a vibe, like a feeling of a something that's behind a veil that humans can't perceive, that they slowly begin to get a hint of. And there is an episode of The Real Ghostbusters, and I should have looked up which episode, but what I remember are a couple of little goblin-y ghosts running around, and one of them like opens this hatch, and I remember the whole screen is black, and this tiny little white opening opens, and like the little creature looks in, and they never show us what he's seeing, but what he's seeing is the threat of the episode, which is this unseen horror, and it makes noises, and it really freaked me out as a kid. And that feeling is what I associate with cosmic horror. But I wrote down a bunch of them.
We're going to talk about a bunch. That Real Ghostbusters show was so much better than it had any right to be. It was so good.
Did you know there's an episode with Cenobites? There's like an author who has to... I don't remember the exact plot, but as he writes things, they happen, and the Cenobites are forcing him to do it. They're not called Cenobites, but they're totally Cenobites.
I don't remember that episode. I remember, and I have like the they released like a steel book of the entire series, maybe missing the Cthulhu episode or something, but there was a Cthulhu. There was a Cthulhu episode.
Cthulhu.
Yeah, Collect All, and it was great. I think I need to revisit that series again then, because I don't remember the Cenobites. I remember a guy with a giant pumpkin head. He was awesome.
Prince of Halloween. That's a good episode. I watch it every time.
So when I was a kid, and I'm talking 3 or 4 years old, because I can remember the house I lived in at the time, and it was pre-kindergarten, and I remember there was a movie playing in the afternoon. And I sat down in front of the TV to watch this movie. And I remember there was a scientist, and he had a beard, and there was like a spaceship that they had uncovered that had been in the earth for millions of years. And they open a hatch, and these alien skulls fall out. And it terrified me more than anything I ran from the room. It terrified me that these aliens had been on Earth centuries before mankind. It chilled me to the core. And I didn't know what the movie was for years, for decades. And then I found out what the movie is, and it's a great movie. There's a series. It's called Quatermass and the Pit. It's an English-made movie. I think it should be called for years I called it Quatermass because I think that's a better name. But it's Quatermass and the Pit. And there were like three movies in the series and a TV show about Quatermass. And he just investigates events of cosmic dread. But those alien skulls, I can picture them in my head when they fall out of that hole and they've got little antennas still. Their skulls have antennas. It scared me so bad as a child. It's the first time I really remember being like scared of a TV show or a movie was that movie in that moment. But yeah, it took me decades to figure out what that movie was. Quatermass and the Pit. That's a free recommendation because it's not on my list of recommendations.
I'm gonna say, Dennis, do you want to throw one in? You got one to throw in?
I forgot the question. I was sitting here thinking how Cullen has decided that his mispronunciation of a man's name was a better title. And that's all I've been thinking about.
That is the story of my life and the story of me as a creator, is that how I pronounce it is the right way. Horror.
So what was the question?
Well, I want to start throwing out some recommendations. Kyle's going to kick us off, and this can be
Well,
whatever.
I'm not.
Oh,
The other part.
you're not ready for that? Oh, all right.
I've still got touches of Cthulhu in the things we watched as kids.
All right, let's hear it.
G.I. Joe the movie.
Let's sing the song.
Cobra La. You would have had to give me 2 days notice. Yeah, Cobra La and people turning into like frog people and an ancient civilization that exists and pulls strings, but they're mostly made out of snakes and stuff. And Globulus, the stupidly named half.
No, he was not stupidly named. He was awesomely named. And he was voiced by Burgess Meredith.
What's Cobra Law from? That sounds familiar.
Cobra La is the realm that Globulus rules with his number one right-hand man, Cullen.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who his right-hand man was then. I thought it was Serpentor.
No, come on. Come on. No, his Globulus, his heavy, was Nemesis Enforcer. The purple he had bat wings or like tentacle wings. The toy came with tentacle things.
I had the toy.
Or threw down with him. They had a giant fist fight. But anyway,
I do not remember his name.
That has Cthulhu stuff in it. It has Lovecraft stuff in it.
It does.
But then those are the only things I wrote down from.
Well, let's honor G.I. Joe the movie because it has the best introduction of any G.I. Joe episode ever, where the Cobra, they're flying up against the Statue of Liberty and they're singing that great song. You didn't know Cobra had their own song, but they did. And yeah.
Guess what I did when I got that on DVD, Cullen? And Dennis. Would have been 20 years ago.
You immediately got a Subway sandwich and a giant tub of popcorn and sat in front of it.
I watched what Snake Eyes does in the intro of that movie while the chaos is going on around the Statue of Liberty. Frame by frame, I watched the crazy stuff that Snake Eyes does.
Does he jump onto like an AirPod and like swing in and kick the guy and then take control of it?
Yeah, a trouble bubble is what.
A trouble bubble. Oh my gosh, G.I. Joe!
Like 1 second or 2 seconds, he flips, kicks the guy out, and then he sits down, and then he flies toward the screen. And if you could see his face, he'd be winking.
Eyes he can't wink.
He can still wink. You just can't see it.
All right, Kyle, did you have another childhood?
I had one more.
I want to hear it. This is my favorite thing.
And this, you've all seen this, and you didn't even know how Cthulhu-y it was. So I don't know who's read The Call of Cthulhu, but it is a disappointment to me that The Call of Cthulhu is not a fantastic story. There are fantastic themes in it. But The Little Mermaid, Ursula the Sea Witch, they kill her the same way they kill Cthulhu in The Call of Cthulhu. With the broken mast of a ship impales her, and she turns into foam and dissolves into the ocean.
That's disturbing. I've never seen The Little Mermaid.
Are you kidding?
I really haven't. I'm a little older than you.
Are the good guys in Call of Cthulhu much less charismatic than Cthulhu? Because I find that scene to be upsetting in Little Mermaid, because Poseidon's kind of a dickhead.
There's no personality in the characters in the short story.
They're all slowly going.
Right. Well, that tracks. Thank you, Kyle, for this trip down memory lane in terms of what is. I mean, and if you think about it, before I was into Cthulhu, I was into Dungeons and Dragons. Mind flayers are basically Cthulhu-esque creatures. And, intellect devourers kind of have that cosmic dread. There were these creatures in the Castle Amber module, which is based on some Clark Ashton Smith stuff. And Clark Ashton Smith was part of that circle. There are these creatures called the Brain Eaters, which are very brain collectors, which are very, Lovecraftian in their nature. So I think it seeped into a lot of stuff from my childhood. I just didn't know at the time what it was.
Let's go back and revisit the three names of those three very different creatures that you just named off.
Mind Flayer,
Mm-hmm.
Intellect Devourer,
Mm-hmm.
and Brain Collector. All has something to do with the mind.
And none of those is the drugstore version of the same thing.
They get along?
Yeah, do they
I
get
don't,
along?
I don't think they get along. I mean, maybe the Mind Flayer keeps an Intellect Devourer as a pet, but Brain Collectors are their whole nother. They're a completely different edition of Dungeons and Dragons. They don't even exist in the same universe.
Madness.
Kyle, we're gonna do this. This is the portion of the episode where we're gonna make some recommendations, whatever we want that we think illustrates some cosmic horror. I want you to kick us off.
All right, I love the board game Cthulhu Wars. It's awesome. It came out like 13 years ago at this point or something like that. No, it came out in 2013, so 12 years ago. Massive
Oh
board.
my god!
I've backed every Kickstarter. I have all the pieces. This is the only one I had in my studio, though. It's one of the versions of Cthulhu. But anyway,
Yeah.
the crazy game.
Hold that up again. You froze.
Can be like 10 players at this point. It's the only giant game I have because my philosophy is I don't want to be like Cullen and have 50 giant games that I never play. So I just have the one game that I play every once in a while.
It is a giant game. I have backed it pretty much the same as you, and there's a litany of texts between Kyle and me when a new version of Cthulhu Wars is hinted at or launched. It's like, hey, are you getting this one? Well, of course I'm getting it. And it's an amazing game. It's a game that I played at like conventions, and when you play it at conventions, it draws attention because of the figures are so cool, and it's sort of a, the easy way to talk about it is say it's Risk with Cthulhu. That's kind of dumbing it down.
Look how
But-
big this is, and this is like a middle-sized piece. There are some that are much bigger.
And Kyle was there. One of my favorite convention memories involves Cthulhu Wars because we played it in Wichita. Kyle played, and Baltimore Rivas was playing with us, and several other people. And Baltimore, great guy, amazing artist, takes Cthulhu Wars very seriously. And somebody was doing something against him, and Baltimore was kind of cocky. He was like, you can't beat me. The guy had to roll, you had to roll like 8 dice.
It was Link W. Herman, who comes all the time and is a very nice guy.
He was a great guy. He had to roll like an impossible roll in order to defeat Baltimore, who had just dominated the game at this point.
But he had 1 die and he had to roll a 6.
Yeah, and he rolled it. In my mind, I remember us carrying him around the conventions, the hotel on our shoulders because it was such a glorious moment. But I know I can remember Baltimore's face and the existential dread that was on his face when he lost.
So Cthulhu Wars, I highly recommend it. Great cosmic horror game.
Absolutely. All right, Dennis, what have you got for us?
I really like The Mist, which is it's a Stephen King story that was adapted into a movie by the filmmaker whose name just left my brain. It's the same guy that did Shawshank Redemption and the first season of Walking Dead, right?
Yes.
What's his name?
It's escaping my name right now. My brain too. It was Frank Darabont.
Frank Darabont.
I just looked it up. I can't say it came to my mind. I had to actually look it up. But yes.
Am I right about that? Let's make sure I'm right about that.
Well, Frank Darabont is who directed The Mist.
Right. Perfect. Then yes. Yeah. I love that movie. The ending of that movie, it's a solid horror movie about weird shit showing up in a small town and this guy trying to keep his kid alive while everyone else goes crazy and people start turning on themselves. But the last 5 minutes of that movie is like the road level devastating in a way that is all of the stuff we're talking about. Existential dread and holy shit, we are insignificant in ways that are profound.
If you want to see that movie, don't tell anybody. Just watch it, because everybody will ruin it for you.
Yeah, they will ruin it for you. And spoiler alert, skip 2 minutes ahead because I have to ask Dennis this question if you haven't seen The Mist. I saw it before I became a parent.
You're going to ruin the end right now, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not ruining anything, really. Did the movie hit different? Did you see it before you became a parent, Dennis?
I saw it before I became a parent.
And then does it hit differently after?
Yes, because I made Whitney watch it, and she was very upset with me. Like, why did you make me watch this? And yes, it is. It is much like The Road, Cormac McCarthy's The Road. It is
Oh,
much worse
yes.
once you can actually relate to the scenario.
It is awful, but it's a great movie. But what I mean, oof, what a heavy hitter. Well, you guys, those are both good choices. I'm gonna also start with a movie, and I'm gonna start with The Void from 2016.
Ooh, yeah.
And The Void came out. It kind of came out of nowhere, and it's basically, on its surface, it's a siege movie where this group of people end up at this almost decommissioned hospital. It's in the process of being decommissioned, and this cult is closing in around them. And as this cult closes in around them, the most bizarre shit starts to happen in the hospital. And it kind of has a real retro vibe to it. Like a lot of the effects are very practical and very messy and wet. and if you haven't seen this movie, and it has just this, it's got this hopeless vibe. Sorry, Dennis, but this hopeless vibe all the way through it. And it was directed by Stephen. I wrote it down because I can't pronounce it without looking at it. Stephen Kostansky and Jeremy Gillespie, and it's. I think it's a special movie. It's streaming somewhere. You can see it You can see it right now. It's definitely a great representation of cosmic horror, and it starts small and it gets progressively bigger and weirder as it goes along.
Yeah, it feels like a '80s horror movie that goes in unexpected directions.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah, I like that movie a lot too.
In fact, I think the copy I have, they released it in like a VHS box. It's a DVD, but it's a VHS box. But it's a great movie. You should check it out. All right, Kyle. Next up.
Oh.
Me.
Let's see. Let me take a look. Well, in my opinion, the very best the very best Lovecraft story that I've read, I have not read them all by any means, is In the Mountains of Madness. And I went to Call of Cthulhu first because he's the poster boy, but for my money, In the Mountains of Madness that's the one. That's like very awesome. To the point that all the things that they fight, or I say fight, but all of the monsters and creatures that antagonize them aren't even the Force. The Thing is never even seen. It's glimpsed in a reflection in the sky when lightning strikes.
Yeah.
And when I listened to an audiobook of it, I think, or who knows, but again, I'm getting goosebumps right now. At the end of it, I was like, "Ooh, that's creepy," because that story, the unseen, is what's horrible, and it's a good one, very good one. So read In the Mountains of Madness by H.P. Lovecraft.
It's neat that you describe it that way, because it's like that's a story where it's not about the jump, the boo. It's not about the monster is right in front of you. It's about that thing in that flash at the end is more terrifying than any of that other stuff. It's awesome.
Good story. And I think Del Toro keeps trying to get that movie made, and there's some very cool footage. It's just like 30 seconds maybe.
It's like a teaser, right, of these guys going into a cave, and it's great. Yeah.
So that's my second recommendation.
Love it. Dennis.
So it's something I've only seen once, and I didn't know until I looked at this list the other day that it was cosmic horror. But Annihilation is a movie. I was watching a bunch of recent sci-fi movies that I hadn't seen because my kids were little when I was preparing to write the Carmen line, and I just like all of the highest rated stuff that had come out in the last 5 or 6 years I watched, and that one is incredible and weird, and it's like a woman goes into what is this? I guess like a otherworldly incursion that's happening where like an area of the United States is being remade in the image of some other universe, and everything's wonky in there. And she goes in to try to get her husband out with some other soldiers, and it is really unique and interesting and visually stunning. It was a fascinating movie, and I didn't know any of that was based on cosmic horror till 3 days ago.
Yeah, it's I've only seen it once too because I think it's upsetting, and I don't want. It's a movie that upsets me in a big way. I think it's probably the biggest budget cosmic horror movie, maybe. I mean, it's a pretty big budget movie, and it's got some really weird concepts and ideas in it, and the visuals are. I mean, again, it's just upsetting to me. There are a couple of deaths in that I don't like, and it's not a slasher. It's not some monster coming out and just tearing somebody up. The deaths are so sort of subtle and sad, and
when like beautiful, like everything in it is beautiful in like a fractal sort of way. It's Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac's in it, but yeah, I thought
both
it was awesome.
beautiful human beings.
Yes.
So my next one is a role-playing game. I know, nerd, but so there is a Swedish role-playing game that came out in the mid-90s or whatever. When I was working at a comic book store, we had a customer who was from Sweden, and she came in and told me about this insane game. And I was like, well, I got to check that out. And it's called Cult with a K. And this game, I used to call it Clive Barker, the role-playing game, because I feel like Hellraiser is definitely a cosmic horror. It's a cosmic horror story, but this game is very much influence. It wears its influences of Clive Barker on its sleeve, but it's this role playing game. It's set in the modern world in cities, and the idea is that reality is a lie. It's been created by the demiurge or God in order to keep us all, not to protect us, but to keep us all prisoner so that we never attain divinity like we're supposed to. So everything we see is not true. And underneath it is this horrifying, disgusting, awful, violent world. And the conceit of the game is that the demiurge has abandoned us now. And that opens the door for all these other dark forces to try to control us through this false reality. And you go mad like as you do in role-playing games, but your madness opens doorways and peels back the reality of the world. And it is one of the most, as a writer, I keep it on my shelf over here because it is one of the most sort of inspiring games. The concepts in the world are so big and deep and interesting. It's just something I like to. Sometimes I haven't played the game in decades, but I like to look at the books because it's so creepy and weird.
When you had us play the COVID role-playing game that we played, why the fuck were we chasing goblins around when we could have been dealing with that shit?
There's a reason. I feel like a horror role-playing game like Cult, it needs a group that's going to kind of engage and take it seriously, and that is not what we get out of role players these days.
Just because I wanted to be a fish man, Cullen thinks we didn't take the game seriously just because I wanted to be a fish man.
I just felt like we needed to be a little more serious.
Hey, guess what? Guess what shows up a bunch in Lovecraft stories?
Fishman. I know. But it wouldn't work in Cult. Cult is not a Lovecraft story. It's real dyed in the wool, bloody fingertip horror.
So how did someone go about finding a Swedish role-playing book in the mid-90s, pre-internet?
It got reprinted. It's been reprinted in several different formats. there was this great format in the mid 90s that I still think is the best version of the game. But then they made it they like cleaned it up and made a sort of a prettier version of the book. And now there's a really like a gorgeous version of the book that's been being kickstarted multiple times, where you can get, all sorts of different source books and guides. And of course I'm a sucker, so I get all of that stuff. But it was reprinted in the early 90s for America, for us. And it was great. And I love it. I want to look at it right now, but I won't. Kyle, what else we got?
I got two more. Two more. One of them is Call of Cthulhu. Let me make sure I get that right here. Oh no, I'm not going to get it right. Okay. There's this company called Puppeteers for Fears that travels around and does puppet shows. And they did a Call of Cthulhu musical here in Kansas City. The stage, I was right in the front row. The stage was like a 4-foot barrier, and then just puppets singing and telling the story of Cthulhu. I'll send you a photo after this. But Puppeteers for Fears is the name of the place. You should look them up because some of it is on YouTube, I'm sure. But it was very fun. Very funny.
Do you know what shocks me is that this came to Kansas City and you didn't call me immediately and say, come to Kansas City to watch Cthulhu puppets.
Maybe I just wanted something to hold over your...
You kept it to yourself selfishly, but that's all right.
It was quite good. It's sort of hosted by a Shoggoth. And, yeah, good stuff. I can't describe it, but fun. And then, do you last one? Or are we gonna?
We'll get to your last one. We'll let you close it out. Dennis, what's your next one?
So I'm realizing I know that there is Lovecraftian stuff in the early Hellboy, but all of BPRD has to be cosmic horror, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah. I love that shit.
Yeah.
There it is.
Is that what you're reading? Kyle's just going to read for the rest of his interview.
Yeah. Anytime somebody goes to the Antarctica and finds creepy shit, I'm in.
I agree. I think all of Hellboy and BPRD is very cosmic horror, and it is cemented in my mind the idea that in any animal, especially a bird, that just utters the word doom, that's my jam. That is what I really like, is animals saying doom.
Have you considered getting a parrot? Teach it to say doom?
I feel like I have too many cats. It literally would be doom for a parrot. The cats would just destroy it. Although that would be awesome. A raven that says doom would be better, though.
Yeah, the visual storytelling in both Hellboy and BPRD has always been, like, so much of it is just you looking at really scary shit and having people whose lives just happen while all this shit is going on around them that is impossible to understand.
What's the name of the gods in Hellboy?
7 gods of chaos.
They have like a crazy name, like Kadar Shagath.
Yeah, there's Amon Jahad and Adad Jahad. Namra, Ira Jahad.
Yeah, I love all that nonsense. I love it. I love that nonsense talk.
What's the name of the seed of the destruction?
I don't know. Hellboy.
Samael, the seed of destruction. Is that what they say?
I don't know. Yeah, sure. That sounds right.
Sounds right.
Sure. Sounds good. My next one is a musical group, because I was trying to vary things up. There's a band that's sort of a punk pop rock band called The Darkest of the Hillside Thickets, which may be the greatest band name of all time. It's inspired from a line in one of Lovecraft's short stories, The Tomb. But not all of their songs, but many of their songs are Lovecraftian in nature. And they have songs like 1,000 Fists and Shoggoth's Away and 6 Gun Gorgon Dynamo. And they do one song in particular called Nyarlathotep that they sing in Egyptian. The entire
cool.
song is in Egyptian. And I've never been able to see them perform. I think they may perform in weird costumes like squids and lobsters and stuff.
But they called
And the Darkest of the Hillside Thickets. You can definitely find their music on like streaming all over the place. You can get their albums. They're awesome.
Yeah, they have some weird costumes.
Yeah, I think they perform in like
Too
bizarre
weird.
costumes.
Not Guar weird, but
No, they're not Guar level.
Weird.
Yeah, but you should check them out. They're fun, they're funny, they're sort of poppy and punky, but they're great. All right, Kyle, close out our recommendations.
All right. A film I highly recommend. Although at this point in my life, I don't offer blanket recommendations of things. So I highly recommend, if you like movies that, if you can find joy in movies that you can see the seams, things aren't exactly perfect, then I recommend The Lair of the White Worm. Fantastic film. It's a British movie. It's from like 1987 or something. 1988. It takes place in the.
Yeah.
It's modern, but it takes
Yeah.
place in the British countryside. There's a cave system nearby where a legendary, a local legendary figure, was said to have slain a worm that like came out of there, and then Hugh Grant plays the descendant of this legendary figure, a very young Hugh Grant, like
before
20.
he's famous.
But here's what I figure out, and I question this every time I watch it. Hugh Grant is so confident, and it's like he's supposed to be the hero, but everything he says they should do is wrong. And I can't tell if that is on purpose, or like if it's a joke, or if it's just like, we'll keep listening to him because look how handsome. I can't tell which one. But anyway, there's a woman in that. What's her name? Is it Amanda Donahoe? Let me look. She's like part snake. She's really creepy, moves around.
Just really crazy fangs. I know.
Sometimes she, yeah. There's a lot that goes on in that. I highly recommend it if you can stomach movies that aren't modern and that aren't seamless. Then
yeah, it's a little messy. But I love it. That movie though. So it used to be when I was a kid, you'd go to the video store, and if they had posters that they were no longer using, they had them in a box, and you could just say, "Hey, I'll take this poster if you'll let me have it." And I had a Lair of the White Worm poster, which had that woman with the fangs and everything. I had it on the back of my door for at least a year because I thought it was just a crazy poster I hadn't watched the movie yet. I mean, it was years later that I actually watched the movie. But yeah, it's super, super trippy and super cosmic.
It's got a great song in it. About the Downton worm. It takes place in Downton.
Sing it.
I didn't see. You got to get it.
When I was 11 or 12, my parents made it so that, well, my dad wasn't involved. My mom made it so that I could rent R-rated movies so that she didn't have to go into Blockbuster, because every weekend I would rent multiple movies. And so there was a period of time where I rented every horror movie that they had in the horror section of Blockbuster. And one of the gems of that was Lair of the White Worm, which is a thing that I would not have rented if it wasn't next in line for the thing. But yeah, that movie's fantastic.
I like that you were just doing an alphabetical horror movie experience. That's awesome.
Yeah.
To make it to Zardoz, did you get that far?
I don't think Zardoz was available at the time. Also, Zardoz isn't horror.
But it's kind of cosmic.
It's something.
I mean,
there's a floating head of doom.
Yeah, that floating head is pretty cosmic.
The outfit's pretty cosmic.
Yes. I mean, that's what I'm wearing. You can't see it, but from the waist down, I'm totally Zardazing it.
I'm not wearing it. I have it tattooed.
Nice.
One year at Dragon Con, one of the few times I went to Dragon Con, they had a Zardoz parade. So there were about 60 people all wearing that outfit parading around.
Good. I feel like that's a level of confidence I will never have.
Yes, that's okay.
I'm going to rapid fire these.
All right.
Okay, go.
In the Mouth of Madness, check it out. 10 Cloverfield Lane, check it out. The Thing, check it out. The video game Helldivers 2, check it out. All Lovecrafty. All cosmic horror-y in their own way.
I would also throw in there, since I couldn't do it, but since you're going to rapid fire, I would say the movie The Ritual you should check out. It's really good.
That is the best monster I've seen in 10 years. It's
so
awesome.
It absolutely is one of the best monsters I've seen. And this upsets me. A few years back, I was in a writer's room for a TV show, and we were there in the studio, and we were eating lunch like on a patio, and the showrunner goes, "Oh, Cullen, remember how you told me you liked that movie, The Ritual? Yeah, I should have mentioned it. The director was sitting right behind you, and I forgot to even say anything." Come on. So Kyle, have you seen? There's a movie on Netflix, and I might get the title wrong. I think it's called No One Gets Out of Here Alive.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Immediately go and watch this movie. It takes place in the same world as The Ritual. Oh. And I'm telling you, it's not by the same director, I don't think. I don't think it's written. It's based on a novel by the same author that The Ritual is based on. But if you love those elements of The Ritual, go watch that movie because it's bonkers. It's crazy good. I think it's called No One Gets Out of Here Alive. I may have that title a little wrong.
I just looked it up.
Okay.
And before anybody knew what cosmic horror was, The Relic was
I had a friend whose older brother, this friend of mine gave his older brothers, his kids, like a Cthulhu plushie. And then The Relic came out, and his brother called him and is like, "I had to throw that plushie away. I watched that movie, The Relic, and you gave my kid a doll of that Cthulhu, and it was so evil. I had to throw it away."
Okay. Cthulhu really is a monster, though, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, if you will, let's Dennis, I'm gonna let you start us off. Tell us where we can find you, and tell us what you're working on right now, cosmic or otherwise.
You skipped a part, Colin.
I did.
The stuff we've done.
Did we talk too much?
No, we had time. What did we not talk about?
We didn't talk about the work we've done that lives in the world of cosmic horror. You've probably written 200 books.
You do see that this glass is near empty now, right? Hold on a second. Let me get us set up again. Gentlemen, talk to me about the world of cosmic horror, the stuff that you have written in the world of cosmic horror. Dennis, you start us off.
So in Avengers Arena, which is my very first Marvel.
Oh my God, is that the book where all the superhero kids get killed?
It is, it's like Hunger Games for teenage superheroes. But I created an entire academy, the Braddock Academy, like a British superhero academy with a bunch of kids in it. And my favorite character from that was Cullen Bloodstone.
Cullen, based on me. I mean,
based on you. And Cullen's
based on him or based on your son?
Well, my son was named after the both of them because I created a child that I loved in a comic book, and then I created children. And so but it's a whole mix. But yeah,
you
they're
liked
all based
Cullen back then. You liked Cullen enough to name your kid after him.
I did. But the character,
his favorite,
is Ulysses Bloodstone's son, and the brother of Elsa Bloodstone. That's her name, right? And they're monster hunters. And so when he was 12 years old, his dad made him go into a monster realm, and they were going to camp out there, but he had to survive a night in a monster realm. So he like goes through this enchanted mirror and sets up camp and has to survive in this place. And then his dad proceeded to die, and so just left him in there indefinitely. And so he popped out like years later or months later. He pops out of this mirror, and Elsa finds him, and he's freaking out. And yeah, so he sort of hulks out into a Cthulhu monster that comes out of his back whenever he gets overwhelmed. So he's like this sort of crazy goth kid that turns into Cthulhu monster. So that's probably the first thing I did.
He's awesome, by the way, and that comic is great. I'll never say otherwise. It was always a good comic, and I will always say that is my favorite era of working at Marvel is when you were doing Avengers Arena because of all the hate mail. Because of all the hate mail, it was so good.
Yeah, I started therapy. I can actually credit Avengers Arena for my journey in therapy because of all of the strangers that hated me. I went from no one knowing who I was and none of my books getting read to regular hate mail that I responded to in the back of Avengers Arena. But yeah, it's probably not in print currently, but I am very proud of that book, and you can find it digitally.
You should be proud of it because it was awesome. It was one of my favorite comics of that time, and that's not me saying that because I know you. It really was just great.
We're going to roundtable this? You want me to say the other stuff for myself?
Well, yeah, tell me some others.
And then Lovestruck, you mentioned, not Lovestruck, that's funny. Hard Eyes, that you mentioned earlier, it's basically I took mental illness and how whenever you're a person with mental illness, a lot of times what you want is human connection, but your mental illness breaks the thing you're looking for. And then like the idea that you can't expect people to change from their trauma and their past and the things that are wrong with them. You have to learn to live with it. And I turned that into a cosmic horror story. So there's a woman that is wandering around a Lovecraftian post-apocalyptic world, like trying to make human connections. But when she gets too close to people, the giant other dimensional monsters that follow her around eat them. And so it plays with those ideas and all of the mental health struggles that we all go through and the trauma struggles that we all go through in a weird love story, horror story thing. And it was drawn by Victor Ibanez. It's a Vault book. You can get it. It came out just a few years ago, and it's still in print and available. I'm very proud of that book. It's gorgeous. It's better looking. Victor did better work than I did. It's really, really pretty book.
Why you always got to write about love and stuff, Dennis? I don't understand.
I don't know. I like the human condition. I write about that.
I'm grossed out. All right, Kyle.
Hold on. Let me talk about. Cullen used to get when he would get notes from Marvel editors. He would have superhero ideas, and he just want to tell his superhero story. And the Marvel editors would be like, "What is the character's motivation? What's the emotional core of this issue?" And he would send me these things and be so angry, and I would have to be like, "Well, I mean, like this character's thinking this." I could go in and give your characters some sort of emotional motivation that you didn't give a shit about. So
I don't look. Sometimes I care about emotional motivation. I do. But sometimes I just wanted to see a superhero punch another superhero. And that was the emotional motivation, is they wanted to punch him, and that's it. And the note that I'll never forget was there was a Sentinel and in an X-Men book. And Sentinels, anyone who knows what a Sentinel is, knows that a Sentinel is programmed to do what? Kill mutants. That's what Sentinels do. And an editor wrote back to me, I don't know what the Sentinel's motivation is. I died a little bit that day.
We co-wrote that. It was in our House of M, what's it called? The Battle World thing. Right?
House of M, it was the Magneto house.
But it's the House of M but for what's it called? They're about to do a movie. Why can't I think of it?
I don't know. Secret Wars.
It'll be written on those royalty checks you guys get.
I just did an interview about Secret Wars, and they asked me about that book. and I won't go into detail of why, but I didn't go into detail in the interview because they're getting ready to do this big Secret Wars book or something. And they said, well, tell us about the book you and Dennis wrote. And I said, I've never been in a bigger fight with another creator than I was when we co-wrote that stupid Secret Wars Magneto story. We got in such a fight. And I don't want to talk about why we got in a fight, but and I don't want to talk about it because I am, without exception, I was wrong in that fight, but I don't want to talk about that.
I want to talk about it so bad.
No, let's not talk about that. Kyle, you're up.
Oh man. So this is kind of Lovecrafty in its look. This is Spread, the book I drew a decade ago. I co-created it with Justin Jordan, and Felipe Silvero colored it. But it is highly influenced by The Thing, the movie The Thing. Visually, lots of weird otherworldly creatures, dudes turning into monsters. Look at this guy's eyeball opening up.
That's my least favorite thing in the book. It's so disturbing to me. I hate it.
He's singing a little song. It's like, hey, Cullen. And then Cullen and I and our friend Valdemar Reeves, we created this book, Unearth, which is very, very much a slow burn into weirdness. I don't want to spoil what it's about, but you should check it out just for Valdemar's amazing artwork. Let me find a great, awesome page. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, this is an awesome story too. Look at this weird stuff. I don't want to spoil the end.
Yeah, my favorite memory of Unearth is we were on a phone call, like a conference call, Valdemar, you and I was in line to pick up my son from school, and Kyle and I stumbled onto this idea that we wanted to do in Unearth, and we got so excited about it. We were like, oh, fuck yeah! This is the greatest idea in the comic book history. It was awesome.
My favorite thing about that call, it might have been an email, is we were like, Valdemar, what do you want to draw? And he said, I want to draw a killer doll story. And Cullen said, I've already written like 10 killer doll stories. It would have to be the best killer doll story ever made. And we were like, that's too tall an order. And so we stepped back.
Oh man, I've been trying to decide my goals for this next 12 to 16 months. I think one of my goals is to come up with the greatest killer doll story ever told.
You come up with a killer doll story, Valdemar's gonna be so mad at you.
I can't help when inspiration strikes. So it's gonna be a cosmic horror killer doll story.
Both of these are from Image. This one, I'm just gonna do my last part now.
Yeah, do it now.
This one is it's a 25 issue book. It is being collected into a compendium. It'll be out October 7th from Image Comics. It'll be a big ass thick book that will have oh, you know what? I'm gonna be right back. Pause it.
All right, let's see where Kyle's going. This is very Missouri swagger of Kyle to just walk away, just like you did, Dennis, earlier.
Do you want to talk about whether or not Quicksilver should beat up the Scarlet Witch?
Stop it! I'm still recording.
Look at this. This is not the Spread Compendium.
Whoa.
This is all 25 issues that our friend, who used to own the comic, Josh Roberts, had bound into one. This is what it will look like, except the cover is different. But yeah, October 7th, this giant thing. Look, I drew this on the side for Josh because he's
that's a Omaha bound edition, which are amazing, and it's so cool. Yeah.
So, Spread Compendium. It also has art by John Bivens, who drew the last half of Spread after I checked out, and Felipe is in it, of course, and Justin. So,
all right, Dennis. Tell us what well, first of all, Kyle, tell us where we can find you, where we can find out more about your work and follow you.
Well, you should all, if you care about this guy, you should go to kylestrahm.com and sign up for my newsletter. But I only send like one a year. Not like this guy. Or go to my Facebook. I post on there if you care about my opinions about the Blues Brothers or whatever. And then you can also find me on Instagram, which is my name, Kyle Strahm _, because Dr. Kyle Strahm got the no, he didn't. A piano playing Kyle Strahm got the Instagram hand. Dr. Kyle Strahm, he tried to real Ghostbusters me because I got the TikTok handle Kyle Strahm, and he was like Dr. Kyle Strahm.
You're
But,
the original. You're
I'm
original.
I'm not the guy that posts about like exercise and religion. That's Dr. Kyle Strahm.
All right. Dennis, tell us what you're working on and where we can find you.
I am in the process of writing it's an unannounced book with I actually just got the first colored pages back from Brom Rebel, so that will come out, if not this year, then early next year through Ignition Press. It's not
So
announced yet.
excited for that book. I'm so excited for it.
It's so exciting. It's a book that I have been trying to get made for like a decade, and yeah, when this is a new publisher, Jamie Rich, when he was at DC, I pitched this book to him as a Vertigo book, and we got almost to making it there. And so, yeah, whenever I was talking with them about doing something, he looked in his old email and found the pitch. And so when I sat down to talk to him, they had already greenlit the thing. So I'm very excited about that book. It is super cool, super exciting. The artwork's amazing. I'll show you guys after the call. So yeah, I'm doing that, and then I'm also slow rolling on the back burner because Chris is busy. What's it called? It's a graphic novel called Meat Shakes that Chris Grind and I've been trying to do forever, but it's a middle grade book. It's for like 12, 13-year-olds. So that will probably be the next project that I do after this unannounced one. So yeah, I'm working on those two things and watching a lot of children's flag football right at the moment. You can find me. I'm to be honest, I'm not very active online, but you can find me. I have a TikTok, Dennis Hopeless Comics, Instagram, Facebook, all those things that you can contact me through.
Fellas, I want to thank you. I've been sitting here the whole time. I've been a little giddy on the inside because I'm like, this reminds me of the good old days of Missouri Swagger. And it's no secret that I want to have you back on as like regular. Let's do this. Let's do a bunch of these. And it's been a pleasure to have you on, and I really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure to be on, Cullen. Thank you.
Thank you,
But
Kyle.
before we go, Cullen, would you please tell us the Swagger story?
I don't know if I have a Swagger story.
You have a Swagger story. You write like 20 comics a month. You can come up with a Swagger story.
I knew someone was going to ask me for a Swagger story in this one, and I just...
and you were like, screw that.
I've got one. I've got a Swagger story, and I probably shouldn't tell the story, but I will anyway. You guys know this about me, is I never partook of marijuana in any way, shape, or form all my life, well into my recent adulthood.
That's funny because Dennis and I, when we're at your house, we do.
Oh, I know you do, but I've never really been into it. A few years back, I got my medical card when that was a thing because I have severe migraines. And even then, I was like, I don't like this very much. I'm not into it. Like, I took like a gummy at a convention one night, and I had horrible hallucinations. So I didn't want to. I just stopped. It was I don't know what kind of gummy it was. It was a gummy. I had terrible hallucinations.
What color was it?
It was red, and it tasted like wild cherry. It tasted like a Luden's cough drop.
It was a Luden's cough drop.
It might have just been a Luden's cough drop. But recently, this company came out with these like seltzer beverages that are, marijuana-infused beverages, and they're amazing. They're low calorie, and they're delicious, and they make me feel good, and I get a good night's sleep. So our buddy Josh Roberts and I were at a bar just a month or two ago. We were trying to look important. This company's called Nowadays that does the beverages. They had a bottle of Nowadays, like a bottle of tequila, sitting up behind the counter, and we're like, "Hey, can we try? We'd like to both do a shot of Nowadays." So the bartender brought us our shots of Nowadays, and Josh and I drank those shots. And I have never been more high, more out of control in all my life. I'm not a giggly person, but I was giggling. I was laughing. I was having a great time from that little time. I don't know what potency that shot of Nowadays was, but it was insane. And we met friends at a bar afterwards. We walked because I was like, I'm not driving. We walked to a bar, and our friends came in and were like, "What's wrong with you guys? Are you both sick?" And we're like, "No, we're really high." And I kept asking everyone, "When does this go away? When do I feel better? When do I stop? When does the room?" I kept saying the room is moving, but not in an unpleasant way. It was moving, but I was enjoying it. It was like seasickness if it's kind of euphoric. So that is my Missouri Swagger story, is me drinking a tiny little shot of something that just destroyed me for hours.
It sounds like you should make a habit of it. It seemed like you were pretty happy.
I was, but I don't know that I need to be that happy. That seems just selfish.
You need pain to create art. Is that what you're saying, Cullen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was Cindy happy with you when you got home in that state?
I was still a little giggly. And I think Cindy likes anytime that I'm not like moping. She's like, "That's great. Cullen's not moping. This is a great day." But I don't know that she was super happy with me. People are always happy with me. So there you go.
Did you guys just hear a train in the background?
I did.
That was from me.
That's pretty cool. All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and we will do this again soon.
And for old time's sake, we're sorry it wasn't better.
Yeah, there we go. No, we'll do better next time.
Pretty happy with how it went.
We'll do better next time.
All right. Thanks, guys. It's time for some viewer questions. If you have questions for me, hit me up on my Discord, my Patreon, respond to my newsletter, and we'll add your questions into future episodes. The first question we have tonight is, what is my favorite Lovecraft story and why? There's a lot of Lovecraft stories that I really enjoy. I think it's a toss-up to some degree, not to cheat, but Color Out of Space is a great story that I really love. I love a good story about corruption and entropy and this sort of psychedelic manifestation of those things. But I think my favorite Lovecraft story is probably the Dunwich Horror, which I remember I'd read many times, but I remember listening to it on an audiobook when I was for whatever reason, I was driving across country a lot, and I was listening to it on this audiobook, and the narrator, who I forget who it is now, but he had such a great voice for the character, and I'll never forget, he had this great voice for Wilbur Whately, and he would say things like, "Dr. Armitage, I calculate that I got to take that book home with me. There are things in it that I must try under certain conditions that I can't get here, and it'd be a mortal sin to let a red tape rule hold me up." And to me, that embodied the character Wilbur Whately so perfectly that I can't shake it. It stuck with me all these years. However, Lovecraft wrote some interesting stories. He was a great imaginer. But certain members of the Lovecraft circle wrote better stories. And I would say from a cosmic story or cosmic horror point of view, Robert Bloch, the writer of Psycho, did a story called Notebook Found in a Deserted House. And if you haven't checked that short story out, You must, because it is amazing and it is terrifying and it's super creepy in all the ways that a cosmic horror story should be creepy. The next question is an interesting one because it's basically, is cosmic horror is something we can only explore with these supernatural elements, like a god with a squid face, or some color that's falling down from the stars, or creatures who are welling up out of the ocean? And the answer is absolutely not. I think cosmic horror may be one of the most relatable forms of the genre because it only relies on you needing to accept that you are pointless and that the universe as a whole, as an entity, if you can accept the universe as an entity, doesn't care about your existence. And there's an interesting nonfiction series on philosophy and horror. It's by Eugene Thacker. The first book is called In the Dust of This Planet, and it's completely nonfiction. It addresses the horror genre, but it also just talks about our pointlessness. And it's chilling to read as a philosophy text that deals with cosmic horror. So if you like this episode, I would love it if you'd subscribe. I'd love it if you tell your friends. I'd love it if you hit like, and then follow me you can follow me on my newsletter, my Patreon, my Discord. You can find all of it through cullenbunn.com. Thanks a lot, and I can't wait to see you next time.